Zara's crash landing. In the vast expanse of the Andromeda Galaxy, Zara, an intrepid Zoranian explorer, navigated her sleek spacecraft through an uncharted sector. Her mission was to survey potential habitable planets for her people, who were seeking to establish a new colony. Zara's exceptional piloting skills and keen eye for detail made her the perfect candidate for this crucial task. As she approached an unexplored solar system, her ship's sensors detected an anomaly in the gravitational field surrounding the third planet. Intrigued, Zara decided to take a closer look. She carefully maneuvered her craft into the planet's orbit, her eyes widening as she took in the sight of swirling blue oceans and lush green landmasses beneath the wispy white clouds. Suddenly, an unexpected burst of turbulence jolted the ship, sending it spiraling towards the surface. Alarms blared as Zara frantically tried to regain control, but the ship's systems were unresponsive. The planet's atmosphere engulfed the craft, the intense heat of re-entry causing the hull to glow a brilliant orange. Despite her best efforts, Zara couldn't prevent the inevitable. The ship plummeted through the clouds, hurtling towards the ground at breakneck speed. In a desperate attempt to minimize the impact, she activated the emergency landing thrusters, but it was too late. The spacecraft slammed into the planet's surface, skidding across the rocky terrain before coming to a jarring halt at the base of a towering cliff. Inside the battered cockpit, Zara lay motionless, her body battered and bruised from the violent crash. The acrid smell of smoke filled her nostrils as she slowly regained consciousness, her vision blurred and her head throbbing with pain. With trembling hands, she unbuckled her safety harness and attempted to stand, but a searing pain in her leg caused her to cry out in agony. Glancing down, she noticed a deep gash across her thigh, dark purple blood seeping through the torn fabric of her flight suit. Gritting her teeth, Zara pulled herself up and surveyed the damage. The once pristine interior of her ship was now a twisted mess of scorched metal and shattered displays. She limped over to the emergency supply cabinet, hoping to find a functioning distress beacon, but as she rummaged through the debris, her heart sank. The beacon was damaged beyond repair, its circuitry fused and useless. Despair washed over Zara as the gravity of her situation became clear. She was stranded on an unknown planet, light years away from her people, with no means of calling for help. Her injuries would make survival even more challenging in this alien environment. Zara closed her eyes, taking a deep breath to calm her racing thoughts. She knew that panicking would only hinder her chances of survival. Drawing upon her training and innate resilience, she resolved to assess her surroundings and formulate a plan. With a determined grunt, Zara limped towards the ship's hatch, the pain in her leg a constant reminder of her precarious situation. As the hatch hissed open, she was greeted by a blast of hot, dry air and the blinding glare of twin suns overhead. An unfamiliar landscape stretched out before her, a harsh and unforgiving terrain of jagged rocks and deep canyons. Zara knew that her journey had taken a desperate turn, but she refused to give in to despair. She would find a way to survive, no matter the odds. With a fierce determination burning in her heart, she took her first steps into the unknown, ready to face whatever challenges this strange new world had in store. Struggling to survive. As the twin suns began to set, casting an eerie orange glow across the barren landscape, Zara limped away from the wreckage of her ship. Each step sent a jolt of pain through her injured leg, but she gritted her teeth and pressed on, knowing that she needed to find shelter before the cold night descended upon the planet. The terrain was treacherous, littered with loose rocks and hidden crevices that threatened to trip her at every turn. Zara's eyes scanned the horizon, searching for any sign of refuge, but the desolate expanse seemed to stretch on endlessly. The dry, thin air made it difficult to breathe, and she could feel her strength waning with each passing minute. Just as despair began to creep into her heart, Zara spotted a small cave entrance nestled into the base of a nearby cliff. Relief washed over her as she hobbled towards it, the promise of shelter giving her a renewed sense of purpose. As she approached the cave, She cautiously peered inside, her eyes straining to penetrate the inky darkness within. Satisfied that the cave appeared to be unoccupied, Zara gingerly lowered herself to the ground, her back resting against the cool, rough wall. She allowed herself a moment to catch her breath, the throbbing pain in her leg a constant reminder of her dire situation. Zara knew that she needed to tend to her wounds, but her medical supplies were limited. She reached into the small pouch on her belt and retrieved a tube of Zoranian healing gel, a potent salve designed to accelerate the body's natural healing process. With trembling fingers, she applied the gel to her gash, wincing as the cool, tingling sensation spread across her skin. As the night descended, the temperature dropped drastically, and Zara found herself shivering uncontrollably. She huddled closer to the cave wall, her arms wrapped tightly around her body in a futile attempt to conserve heat. The darkness seemed to press in on her from all sides, and the eerie silence was broken only by the occasional gust of wind whistling through the canyon. Sleep eluded her, her mind churning with thoughts of her predicament. She wondered if her people would ever find her, or if she would be doomed to spend the rest of her days alone on this unforgiving planet. Tears streamed down her face as the weight of her isolation bore down upon her. As the first rays of the twin suns began to peek over the horizon, Zara steeled herself for the challenges that lay ahead. She knew that she needed to find food and water if she was to have any hope of survival. With a grunt of pain, she pulled herself to her feet, using the cave wall for support. Venturing out into the harsh light of day, Zara scanned her surroundings for any sign of vegetation or water sources. In the distance, she spotted a glimmer of hope, a small, scraggly patch of green clinging to life in the shadow of a towering rock formation. With renewed determination, Zara set off towards the patch of green, her injured legs screaming with every step. She knew that the journey would be arduous, but the promise of finding sustenance drove her forward. As she approached the vegetation, Zara's heart leaped with joy. Nestled among the twisted, thorny vines were small purple fruits that resembled the nutrient-rich berries of her homeworld. She eagerly plucked one from its stem and brought it to her lips, the sweet, slightly tangy flavor bursting across her tongue. For a moment, Zara allowed herself to savor the small victory, but she knew that her struggle was far from over. The hostile environment of the planet continued to test her resolve, and with each passing day, her hope for rescue grew dimmer. Yet, despite the overwhelming odds, Zara refused to give up. She would continue to fight for survival, drawing upon the depths of her strength and resilience until her final breath. An unexpected encounter. Marcus Erickson, a seasoned human explorer, guided his sleek, advanced spacecraft through the uncharted reaches of the Andromeda Galaxy. His mission was to survey and catalog new planets, searching for potential resources and habitable worlds for future human colonization efforts. Marcus's reputation as a skilled pilot and resourceful adventurer had earned him this prestigious assignment. As he navigated through the vast expanse of space, a faint, irregular signal caught his attention. Intrigued, Marcus fine-tuned his ship's sensors, trying to pinpoint the source of the anomaly. The signal was weak and intermittent, but it appeared to be emanating from a nearby solar system. Marcus quickly cross-referenced the system's coordinates with the Galactic database, only to find that it was unexplored territory. The prospect of discovering something new sent a thrill of excitement through his veins. He deftly maneuvered his ship towards the source of the signal, his curiosity piqued. As he approached the third planet in the system, Marcus's sensors picked up the unmistakable signature of a crash site. The wreckage of an alien spacecraft lay scattered across the planet's rugged surface, glinting in the light of the twin suns. Marcus's heart raced at the sight, his mind already formulating a plan of action. He carefully guided his ship into the planet's atmosphere, the advanced shielding technology protecting him from the intense heat of re-entry. As he descended towards the crash site, Marcus scanned the area for signs of life, hoping against hope that he might find survivors. The landscape below was harsh and unforgiving, a patchwork of jagged rocks and deep canyons that stretched out to the horizon. Marcus expertly navigated his ship through the treacherous terrain, his eyes fixed on the wreckage that grew larger with each passing second. As he brought his ship to a hover near the crash site, Marcus donned his protective gear, ensuring that his suit's life support systems were fully operational. He grabbed his medical kit and a portable translator device, knowing that communication would be key if he encountered any survivors. With a hiss of hydraulics, the ship's hatch opened, and Marcus stepped out onto the alien soil. The air was thin and dry, and the heat from the twin suns beat down upon him mercilessly. He made his way towards the wreckage, his boots crunching against the rocky ground. As he approached the shattered remains of the alien craft, Marcus's heart sank. The damage was extensive, and it seemed unlikely that anyone could have survived such a violent impact. Still, he refused to give up hope. He began to methodically search the area, his eyes scanning for any signs of life. It was then that he spotted her, a lone figure huddled against the base of a nearby cliff, her body battered and bruised. Marcus rushed to her side, his medical training kicking in as he assessed her condition. The alien was unlike any species he had encountered before, with iridescent blue skin and delicate, fin-like appendages. Marcus quickly realized that the alien was in dire straits. Her wounds were severe, and she appeared to be on the brink of collapse. He knew that he had to act fast if he was to have any chance of saving her life. Gently, Marcus scooped the alien into his arms, taking care not to aggravate her injuries. He carried her back to his ship, his mind racing as he formulated a plan to provide the medical care she so desperately needed. As he lay her down on the ship's medical bay, Marcus couldn't help but marvel at the strange twist of fate that had brought them together. He knew that the road ahead would be challenging, but he was determined to do everything in his power to help the injured alien. With a fierce resolve burning in his heart, Marcus set to work, his skills and compassion guiding him as he fought to save a life from the brink of oblivion. Tentative trust. Zara awoke to the unfamiliar hum of advanced technology and the soft glow of artificial light. Her eyes fluttered open, and she found herself lying on a padded surface, her body swathed in a strange, silvery material that seemed to conform to her every contour. Confusion and fear gripped her heart as she tried to make sense of her surroundings. As her vision cleared, Zora's gaze fell upon a figure standing nearby, a tall bipedal creature with pale skin and a shock of dark hair. The being was unlike any she had ever encountered, and the sight of it sent a jolt of panic through her veins. She tried to sit up, but a searing pain in her side caused her to cry out in agony. The creature, Marcus, she would later learn, rushed to her side, his hands raised in a gesture of peace. He spoke in a language she couldn't understand, his voice soft and reassuring. Zara recoiled instinctively, her mind racing with thoughts of capture and experimentation. But as Marcus continued to speak, his words translated by a small device on his wrist, Zara began to realize that he meant her no harm. He explained that he had found her injured and alone, and that he had brought her aboard his ship to provide medical care. Zara's initial wariness slowly gave way to a tentative trust, born of necessity and desperation. She knew that she had little choice but to accept the human's aid, for without it, she would surely perish on the hostile planet below. As the days passed, Marcus tended to Zora's wounds with a gentle touch and a compassionate heart. He used his ship's advanced medical facilities to heal her injuries, the sophisticated technology far beyond anything Zora had ever seen. Despite the language barrier, a fragile bond began to form between the two unlikely companions. Marcus's patient, caring demeanor put Zora at ease, and she found herself drawn to his gentle spirit and kind eyes. Marcus, for his part, was fascinated by Zora and her people. He had encountered many alien species in his travels, but none quite like the Zoranians. He marveled at their iridescent skin and delicate features, and he was eager to learn more about their culture and way of life. As Zora's strength returned, she began to share stories of her homeworld and her people. She spoke of the great cities that sparkled beneath the twin moons, and of the vast oceans that teemed with bioluminescent life. Marcus listened with rapt attention, his eyes wide with wonder and curiosity. In turn, Marcus shared tales of his own adventures, of the countless worlds he had explored and the wonders he had witnessed. Zara was amazed by the human's resilience and ingenuity, and she found herself admiring his brave, adventurous spirit. As the days turned into weeks, the bond between Zara and Marcus deepened. They spent long hours talking and laughing, their initial wariness giving way to a genuine affection and respect. But even as their friendship grew, Zara couldn't shake the feeling of unease that gnawed at the back of her mind. She knew that she couldn't stay aboard Marcus's ship forever, and the thought of returning to the planet below filled her with dread. Marcus sensed Zara's anxiety, and he did his best to reassure her. He promised that he would do everything in his power to help her find a way home, no matter the cost. As Zara gazed out at the stars through the ship's viewport, she felt a glimmer of hope stirring in her heart. She knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult, but with Marcus by her side, she felt as though anything was possible. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, their bond forged in the crucible of adversity and strengthened by the power of friendship and trust. Learning and healing. As Zora's wounds healed and her strength returned, she found herself eager to learn more about the remarkable human who had saved her life. Marcus, too, was eager to bridge the gap between their worlds, to understand the intricacies of Zoranian culture and share the wonders of human technology. With the help of Marcus's translation device, their conversations grew more complex and nuanced. They spent long hours discussing the histories of their respective civilizations, marveling at the similarities and differences between their worlds. Zara was fascinated by the concept of human music, and Marcus was more than happy to share his vast collection of recordings from across the galaxy. As the haunting melodies and pulsing rhythms filled the ship's cabin, Zara found herself transported to distant worlds and times, her imagination soaring on the wings of sound. In turn, Zara shared the rich storytelling traditions of her people, weaving tales of heroic adventures and great loves that had been passed down through generations. Marcus listened with rapt attention, his eyes wide with wonder as he was drawn into the vivid tapestry of Zoranian mythology. As their understanding of each other's cultures deepened, so too did their appreciation for the unique strengths and perspectives that each brought to their friendship. Marcus marveled at the Zoranians' deep connection to the natural world, their ability to read the subtle shifts in the environment and adapt to changing circumstances with grace and resilience. Zara, in turn, was in awe of human ingenuity and determination. She watched as Marcus tinkered with his ship's systems, his deft fingers flying over the complex controls with a skill born of years of practice. She learned of the great cities the humans had built, the towering spires that reached towards the heavens, and the vast networks of knowledge that spanned the stars. As the days passed, Zara found herself drawing strength from Marcus's unwavering support and encouragement. He was a constant presence by her side, his gentle touch and soothing words a balm to her wounded spirit. Under Marcus's care, Zara's physical wounds healed, the scars fading to faint silver lines that glimmered in the starlight. But it was the healing of her heart and mind that truly amazed. As Zara's physical wounds healed, she found herself opening up to Marcus in ways she never had before. She shared her hopes and dreams, her fears and doubts, and in turn, Marcus did the same. They found solace in each other's company, a deep understanding and acceptance that transcended the boundaries of species and culture. Together, they explored the wonders of the universe through the lens of Marcus's advanced technology. They marveled at the swirling galaxies and nebulae that danced across the ship's view screens, their colors and patterns more vivid and breathtaking than anything Zara had ever seen. Marcus taught Zara the basics of human technology, showing her how to navigate the ship's complex systems and utilize its vast databases of knowledge. Zara was a quick study, her keen mind and natural curiosity making her an eager and capable student. In turn, Zara shared the ancient wisdom of her people, teaching Marcus the ways of the Zoranian healers. She showed him how to harness the power of the mind to promote healing and well-being, and how to find balance and harmony in the midst of chaos and uncertainty. As their bond deepened, Zara and Marcus found themselves drawn to each other in ways that neither had anticipated. They shared moments of quiet intimacy, their hands intertwined as they gazed out at the stars, their hearts beating in sync with the rhythms of the universe. But even as they reveled in each other's company, they knew that their time together was finite. Zara knew that she would eventually have to return to her people, to share the knowledge and wisdom she had gained, and to continue her mission of exploration and discovery. Marcus, too, knew that his own journey would eventually take him far from Zora's side. He had his own responsibilities and obligations, his own path to follow in the vast expanse of the galaxy. And yet, even as they contemplated the inevitable parting, they knew that the bond they had forged would endure. They had learned and grown together, their hearts and minds forever entwined by the power of friendship and love. As the ship hurtled through the stars, carrying them towards an uncertain future, Zara and Marcus clung to each other, their laughter and tears mingling in the soft glow of the cabin lights. They knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, their spirits united by the unbreakable bond of trust and understanding. And so, they continued on their journey, two unlikely companions brought together by the twists of fate, their destinies forever intertwined by the power of learning, healing, and love. Forging an alliance, as Marcus's ship approached the rendezvous point, Zara felt a mix of excitement and trepidation coursing through her veins. She knew that her people would be overjoyed to see her alive and well, but she also feared their reaction to Marcus and the bond they had forged. The Zoranian fleet appeared on the view screen, a collection of sleek, iridescent ships that glimmered in the starlight. Zara's heart raced as Marcus hailed the lead ship, his voice steady and calm as he introduced himself and explained the situation. There was a moment of tense silence, and then a familiar voice crackled over the comm system. It was Zora's father, the leader of the Zoranian expedition, his tone a mix of relief and suspicion. Marcus carefully explained how he had found Zora injured and alone, and how he had provided medical care and support during her recovery. He emphasized the bond of friendship that had grown between them, and the mutual respect and understanding they had developed. At first, Zora's father was wary, his eyes narrowed as he studied Marcus through the view screen. But as Zara stepped forward and vouched for Marcus's character and intentions, his expression softened. Zara spoke of Marcus's bravery and compassion, of the countless hours he had spent tending to her wounds and providing comfort and support. She emphasized the importance of the knowledge and understanding they had shared, and the potential for a new alliance between their peoples. As Zora's words sank in, her father's demeanor shifted. He recognized the sincerity and depth of the bond between his daughter and the human explorer, and he knew that such a connection could not be ignored. With a nod of approval, Zora's father invited Marcus to join them aboard the Zoranian flagship to discuss the possibility of a formal alliance between their civilizations. As Marcus and Zara stepped aboard the Zoranian ship, they were greeted with a mix of curiosity and respect. The Zoranian crew marveled at Marcus's technology and knowledge, while Marcus was in awe of the Zoranians' grace and wisdom. Over the next few days, Marcus and Zara worked tirelessly to forge a new understanding between their peoples. They shared stories and knowledge, their words bridging the gap between worlds and cultures. Zara's father, impressed by Marcus's integrity and vision, agreed to establish a formal alliance between the Zoranians and humanity. He saw the potential for a new era of cooperation and discovery, a future in which their civilizations could learn and grow together. As the negotiations concluded and the alliance was sealed, Marcus and Zara knew that their journey together was coming to an end. They had each other's duties and responsibilities to attend to, their own paths to follow in the vast expanse of the galaxy. But even as they prepared to part ways, they knew that their bond would endure. They had forged a connection that transcended the boundaries of space and time, a friendship that would forever guide and inspire them. With tears in their eyes and smiles on their faces, Marcus and Zara embraced one last time. their hearts overflowing with gratitude and love. They knew that they would always carry a piece of each other with them, no matter where their journeys might lead. As Marcus's ship pulled away from the Xoranian fleet, Zura watched from the viewport, her hand pressed against the cool glass. She knew that the future was uncertain, but she also knew that she had the strength and courage to face whatever challenges lay ahead. And as the stars streaked past in a blur of light and color, Zura closed her eyes and whispered a silent prayer of thanks for the remarkable human who had saved her life and changed her world forever. She knew that their story was far from over, and that the alliance they had forged would shape the course of the galaxy for generations to come. With a heart full of hope and a spirit full of determination, Zara turned towards the future, ready to embrace the endless possibilities that lay ahead. And somewhere out there, among the stars, she knew that Marcus was doing the same, his own heart forever touched by the power of their incredible journey together.